Gathering Hub took its plea to the Kimberly Village Board tonight, hoping to get the green light to expand its services by acquiring a Class B liquor license. Village staff initially recommended against the idea, saying the business model doesn't fit the mold, nor would it provide significant public benefit for such a valuable and limited license. The venue disagreed, claiming it would fill a need in the community, and with the business next door closing its doors and another license up for grabs, owner Jen Plowman says she was ready for anything.
I definitely did expect a fight. I had reached out to a lot of different people for letters of support, and they were receptive. You know, I appreciate that they were willing to listen, willing to talk. Yeah, I'm just really happy.
In the end, the village board granted the license.